First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Father Sean O'Brien. Father, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Bill?
Wonderful. And with you, you brought someone along as well.
I did. I brought Joe Ryan. He's from Binghamton, New York, and he's a seminarian for the Diocese of Syracuse, studying to be a priest, and gets ordained in 4 years, I think, if he's a good boy.
Okay.
Yes, Father, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
So we wouldn't call you Father?
No, not yet. A couple more years to go, God willing.
Okay. It is odd, though, calling someone Father when they're so... He
Right.
seems so young. You seem so young. How old are you?
I'm only 22.
22. Okay. As opposed to us.
And they sent him to me to straighten him out.
What were they thinking?
I know it. They're going to drive him crazy, the poor kid.
Yeah.
I owe you congratulations, by the way.
You do?
It is. It's a few years late that WIBX received the National Association of Broadcasters William B. Lewis Award. For the most effective education of its audience concerning the war effort during the Second World War. So congratulations.
That is really... It's a couple years late on
it's
that.
hanging in your lobby
Yeah.
there.
Oh, you did
but
see
you
that.
still do.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The consistency with WIBX.
You know, the fact that it is a viable station that is highly rated and a part of the community after 90-some-odd years is I think it's really important.
To have that integrity all those years.
Yeah.
Yep. So what else is going on? I've missed being here.
It's the first we've talked on the phone.
Yeah.
We have not been able to meet in person because of this thing. So.
Yeah, it's finally over.
It does seem to be over, although we were in Florida this past week, and it is there's some resurgence going on down
in Florida?
there. Yeah. With the it's one of the states that is on the upswing with the Delta variant.
Oh.
But you know, that's all people that are not vaccinated.
Yeah.
People that haven't had the vaccinations. So.
Yeah.
How have you handled yourself through this? How has it been? I mean, it was you were trying different things. At one point, you were trying to do services remotely.
We did church online for the first time, so that was exciting. And we have a great IT or media crew, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
We are the only church that I'm aware of in this area, and it's a big area, that offers ASL translation for the deaf on the internet service.
Yeah.
And that was a challenge to have to put the person in that little box and how many cameras.
Oh,
it was like being back in Herkimer again.
Yeah, that's wild.
But we have that going, and they do a great job. The people that run it is a good quality production. If you want to talk about it from a business point of view.
The fact that you and I went to school for radio and television, that was what it was called at Herkimer back then, which the program no longer exists, sadly. No. Do you every once in a while get out of the way? Let me show you how it's done.
Well, no, because the equipment's changed. So I don't say, let me show you how it's done. But I do say, get out of the way. and Joe, who is our media ministry, he's the head of the media ministry.
Yeah.
He does a great job with the sound, the mixing, the 3 different cameras. We got these new specific cameras for live stream. They're as small as this one.
Yeah.
They're not the big cameras anymore.
Right, I know.
And I were
It's
used
crazy.
to. And he does a great job. And there are times, and I think he gets annoyed with me, but God bless him, he keeps his mouth shut. Mm-hmm. But he does look at me sometimes like, oh, boy.
A little funny.
Yeah, because it's like, no, I want to do this. I want to do it that way. I want to,
Right.
And but he knows what he's doing, and he knows how to gently tell me to be quiet.
Well, that works. And the fact that the church is embracing the technology, we had no choice during the pandemic.
Right.
But I do think that it is important. Some people cannot get to Mass.
No.
And to be able to offer it to them, I think is important.
So you could always get church services, Mass, on EWTN, and I think the diocese runs something off of WKTV like at 5 in the morning.
Right.
Or maybe 6 in the morning. But during the virus times, we had your own parish. Right there. We have people from Montana, people from Virginia, people from California who've moved out of Rome, but went to school in this area, or went to church, grew up in this area, felt that touch of being back home.
Yeah.
So now people are coming back, and the church is almost back to normal numbers.
Wow.
And we've done very well keeping the church clean and so on. But we continue this ministry, the media ministry, because it gave us an opportunity to see who can't, like you said, who can't come because of mobility issues or whatever. Yeah. Instead of going back to EWTN or somebody you don't know down wherever they're stationed, we can you could broadcast right out of
And you're a part of the congregation. You're a part of that, and which is really important. So if you needed services of some sort through the church, you could take advantage of that.
Yep.
Versus doing it from someplace far away.
No, and then when we were shut down, my old car looks great. I mean, I couldn't go to the hospital, couldn't bring communion to people.
I know.
Hum-de-dum-de-dum.
What are you going to do?
Well, fix up that old Model A, boy. You ought to see it spin now at 45 miles an hour.
Let's see. I think you drove it down one time from up north in the middle of a snowstorm. Or maybe you didn't.
No, not in this. I drove down here with it a couple of times, but I also drove down here. We set up an arrangement. Seems like in the winter when I come down, you always pick the day with the worst weather.
That's how we do it. Yeah. Or there's just always bad weather.
But we made it. That was a Dodge Dakota.
My grandfather would tell me that these Model A's, these vehicles years ago, before the 50s, you always needed to carry, and sometimes even two spares with you, because you would always have a flat tire.
Yeah, Paris Hill was bad.
Have we improved?
Deerfield Hill was
have
bad.
we improved on the rubber of these tires that are now retrofitted for these vehicles?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah. I haven't had, well, I don't want to jinx myself, knock on Formica here. Mm-hmm. I haven't had a flat tire in 15 years.
So it's just they're better, even though they're made for that vehicle.
Well, the roads are better.
The roads are
Deerfield
better,
Hill and the old Route 12.
Point.
If you ever see those signs when you go up Route 12 on your way to like the Old Forge or something, you'll see a sign that says Old Route 12. It's now Main Street in some town.
Yeah,
and to think that Route 12 used to serpentine all the way up that hill, it must have been forever.
Took forever.
Yeah.
So what else happens? Are you done with the? You could still be called back. Is that possible?
Well,
military?
It's you're put into the retired reserves.
Yeah.
You're not retired. So I retired from the service back in October after 29 and a half years, so I have an ID card yet, and I think, and I'm not sure because I half paid attention and half didn't. But up until the age of 60, if God forbid something happened, up until the age of 60, they could still call me up.
Wow.
And, it'd be hard. It'd have to be tough to call me back. But we could. So, and I'm glad I retired because, I don't want to get like all soft and gushy.
Yeah.
But if, let's say I had to mobilize or let's say I had to go away for my 2 weeks, the old dog isn't doing too good.
Yeah.
And there is that sense of I'd rather be home. Mm-hmm. After 29 years, the dog became more important to me than getting in an airplane and flying to Norfolk, Virginia.
What do you think of? What do you make of the world we're in the middle of right now? This is the post-pandemic, and I don't know if you've done any history research, but we went through something somewhat similar in 1920, where people were shut in. People were upset about masks. Yep. Same thing back then. And we had an economic surge. Let's hope we don't stay with history and have a
big depression.
A big depression. But
let's hope that doesn't repeat itself.
They can see you say what you said on TV. It's coming. What do you make of all of this? There was a story out of Syracuse that Andrew you had where two people went into a Walmart and started pepper spraying and
it's a big fight.
What is going on in the world right now?
Well, I'm not a psychologist, but it amazes me what I see on Facebook. This guy went into a box store. I think it was Walmart. Anyway, this lady came up to him thinking he worked there and started giving him a hard time. And she wanted to see his manager. And he's like, lady, I don't work here.
Yeah.
And she thought, well, you just don't want to. I mean, there does seem to be an element of anger, and I don't know what it is. I'm not a psychologist if it's because people have been pent up or what it is. It certainly says a lot about a person's personality, though.
It does.
So last summer we had a seminarian, and we were under COVID shutdown. I kept him busy.
Yeah.
There were things to do. Just because we're not open on Sunday doesn't mean there aren't things to keep us going for when we reopen.
Right.
And St. Peter's actually hired 2 people when everybody else was getting laid off.
Wow.
And we had a lot of fixing up. So when we did reopen, so I always approach it like you do with a positive attitude.
Yeah, try to.
But a lot of people, like you were saying earlier with this chip company that's coming, there's a lot of naysayers in Rome because we've been beat up so much.
It's been 50 years of decline.
But if there's any place to look, see a total transformation, it's the citizens of Rome. I mean,
yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And then with all the hacking that's going on now, I'm glad my car doesn't have a chip. So, so when all these, what did you call them, non-combustion engine cars?
Non-combustible engines.
Called them earlier on the radio.
Attempted to call them.
Right. So when the Chinese hack our automotive system and everybody's car stops.
Shut everything down.
My little Model A will still putz along.
You're still going to be going?
I'll be there,
still be moving.
You still got to start that from the front of it?
No, that's the other car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but it is almost as if we're in the middle of, I don't know, people had the time to sit around and maybe they got frustrated.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Recovery has transition time, and transition is never easy.
Right.
So
That's what we're in now, I think.
Yeah, you have a lot of people that were encouraged to stay home.
Yeah.
They got made more money staying home than going back to work. Why go back to work?
Sure.
And then when that stops, people are going to be, wait a minute.
Right.
But then there's also the mentality of integrity. Going to work gives you a sense of self-worth and integrity. What kind of person are you going to be? Are you going to be the guy that's willing to work?
Yeah.
And you might make $2 or $3 an hour less? Mm-hmm. Or are you going to be the guy that says, hey, I'd rather stay home and make the money? Well, where's your personal integrity and self-worth, your desire to contribute to the community in which you live? Now, your phones are probably going to light up here, but...
No, I agree. I think it plays a big role, too.
My background would say, St. Paul says, you don't work, you don't eat. So
there's also the element of having a purpose.
That's right. Some sense you get up in the morning for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I just came off. Today's my first day back. I was on vacation,
and the guys did a great job.
That's
I
what
listened,
I've heard.
And the radio station, of course, it wasn't as good as when you were here, but they carried it very well. Yeah.
So, but it is a. I go by the end of the vacation. I'm going crazy. I can't wait to get back and get back into some bit of normalcy.
I take a week off. I end up coming back Friday night for the weekend.
Yeah, you want to come back?
I took a weekend off once in the 28 years I've been a priest. I had a whole 8 days off.
Wow.
And it felt weird. On a Sunday morning to say Mass with 2 other people in a hotel room was just, I say, I'm not doing this again. Drove me crazy.
So,
well, they say where one or more is gathered, I am here. So.
He was there, but I'd rather be in a church.
Okay. Tell me about Rome and your parish and coming out of this and what to look forward to. There's a lot there, but
there is, and I realized during the troubles that we just went through the last 15 months or whatever, wherever I go, I'm happy. Bishop says go here, I'll go there. I make the best of it. I think the Navy, a lot of priests don't like to move. I'm not going nowhere.
Right.
Well, the Navy taught me every 3 years you move, so I'm happy to be 6 years anywhere.
Yeah.
But I like Rome. It is a great city.
It is.
So not every morning. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do my push-ups, and then Tuesday, Thursday, I do my 3-mile walk. And if you can look at some of the homes in Rome, some of them are now apartments, but if you can, with your mind's eye, get rid of those mailboxes on the side and just look at the house for what it is. Mm-hmm. Not only is Rome a great town, but Rome was a great town. It's been a great town.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on that I like. And I like the mayor's ideas. I've gotten to...
She's a good mayor.
Sadly, I had to bury her father.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away. And so we get to chat about different things on the rare occasion. But she has ideas for growth. I think the people there are very positive.
Mm-hmm.
But as I told the bishop, not the current bishop, the bishop that's retired, I like Oneida County.
Yeah.
Every county has, I'm from Broome County, went to school in Herkimer County.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Oswego County as a priest. I've lived here as a priest. I've lived in Onondaga as a priest. And
you've traveled the world.
The county has, as every county does, its own character. And Oneida County's character and my personality seem to blend very well. So I'm very happy to be back in Oneida County. I like Rome very much. St. Peter's, I'm only the 7th pastor since 1836.
Really?
Whoa.
All right? So...
that's unbelievable.
That's it.
Yeah.
So there was never enough guys there to throw anything out. Mm-hmm. So anything that was ever at St. Peter's since 1836 is still at
there.
St. Peter's. So I
you haven't taken that challenge yet?
I put my safari hat on and go up in the attic every now and again And man, the stuff I find up there is just amazing.
Wow,
it's fun.
That's got, and you are a history buff. So
I love it.
You're thumbing through.
I found a juicer from the 1940s. It's now in the kitchen. I squeeze my own orange juice.
That is
Oh,
awesome.
my goodness.
Yeah,
Those are the best, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Try using the ones today. They're terrible.
No, yeah.
Those are really awesome. Quickly before we sign off here, Joe Ryan, anything you've learned from Father Sean? I hope the pressure's on you right now.
Snowmobiling, Utica Club.
What have
anything?
you learned? What have you learned?
Well, I certainly have learned how to drink Utica Club. Down from Binghamton our way, we have a few other beers down there, but we're from the same home parish. I've learned the value of loosening up, enjoying yourself, being able to laugh at yourself.
He was a tightwad when he got here.
He was. Okay. Well, we can't have any of that.
So I've learned a lot of good things from Father O'Brien. I've joined my time here. I've had about a month left with him. So
it's funny because who would have? I tell people, Sean and I went to college together. I mean, a priest went to college? No, he wasn't a priest. You weren't a priest then.
Oh gosh,
and,
no.
You were a college student. We went to college for communications, and you landed in the perfect place because you must communicate. And it's not the church of old where, and I know you're a traditionalist, but probably communication skills 100 years ago, 50 years ago, weren't necessarily focused upon they are needed today.
So it's very interesting. If we could take the last conversation we ended with before you talk to Joe in this one. I like the history, so I found the blueprints of the rectory from 1914 when the new rectory was built.
Yeah.
My office was a parlor. So when you and your wife came to see Father for the baptism of your baby, you didn't sit in an office. You went into a living room.
Right.
You sat down. I mean, the priest is Father. You sat down and talked about the baptism. Now, he had an office to do the paperwork.
Yeah.
So on that level, I think the communication was better.
Better then.
Because today, when you come to see a priest, or I'm sure your minister is the same way, it's almost like going to the bank to get a car loan.
Yeah.
You sit in a chair, he's behind a desk, So on that level, I think it was better back then.
That's a pre-Cana member FDIC.
Yeah, that's right. But as far as the way priests relate to people today is much different than it was years ago, isn't it? I mean, alcoholism, for example, is a professional issue.
Yeah.
Among many occupations, the clergy is not exempt. And oftentimes a priest, for example, would drink alone in the rectory. That's not good. You'd never see the priest at the Elks Lodge.
Right.
Today, it's nothing to see, a priest or a minister out maybe with family or alone with friends. There's the
emotional well-being of not just the constituency, but the priest as well.
Right. And so I think the priest is closer today in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So the communication, yes. But I also think the way we used to approach the priest years ago, I wonder if there isn't a blend. That's kind of something, because one of the things, it's interesting you mentioned that. One of the things I talked to Joe about is I was trying to think, should I convert my office with the desk and the two chairs and the bookshelf and the graduation certificates, should I convert that back to a parlor? So when people come to see Father, you say, "Oh, come on in, have a seat, and you can sit in a chair, right, whatever." And so I've been. We were just having that conversation. It's something I've kind of thinking about.
All right.
I'm not losing sleep over it, but I'm thinking.
But you're
about
thinking
it.
about it.
Yeah, I have to put a new generator in my Model A first.
Yeah, it's on the list.
Yeah.
Father Sean, thank you.
Yes, thanks for having me, Bill.
You will be back.
Andrew and Jeff's in the. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Hey, buddy. He's on the other side of the wall.
All right.
We have to get the phone and talk to him. So I go to visit my Uncle Ed.
The glass and okay, that's good.
No comments on where he is.
All right.
Your commissary's full. Don't worry.
Well, they say he's taken care of. I think.
Oh, he's well taken care of.
Yeah. Joe Ryan, nice meeting you.
Very nice to meet you as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Father, we'll do it again. Thank you.
God bless.